As many long-term readers probably know, horror games really aren't my forte. Until recently, I hadn't even played anything truly spooky until Kronos the New Dawn came along and truly scared me senseless. So when Little Nightmares flew onto my radar, I thought I would try to put on a brave face and give it a go, even without having played the first two. What's it like? Grab a partner, pick up a wrench, and prepare to sneak through the shadows as we dive into Little Nightmares 3 on Nintendo Switch 2. Little Nightmares 3 continues the series' tradition of an immersive and brooding experience. This time, the developers have changed, because the original games were made by Tarsier Studios, known for intimate, atmospheric horror, while this entry comes from Supermassive Games, the team behind Until Dawn, the Dark Pictures anthology, and The Quarry. Co-op is a new addition to the series, letting you tackle puzzles and sneak past terrifying foes with a friend online or relying on an AI partner when playing solo. There's one odd caveat, and that's the lack of split screen or co-op play on the same console. To counter this, a friend code version is available online, requiring only one purchase between two players, although you will need two consoles to make it work. Now, while the game may have changed hands with a new developer, Little Nightmares 3 continues to effectively set the mood and tell a story with no dialogue, instead relying heavily on character animation and environmental storytelling. You follow Lo and Alone as they make their way through deserted streets, shadowy corridors, and nightmarish encounters, each area carefully crafted to build that tension and atmosphere. Even without playing the first two games, the game kinda stands on its own, offering just enough context to make the world feel lived in while leaving plenty of mystery to uncover. The relationship between the two protagonists adds an emotional anchor to an otherwise tense and oppressive journey, making every close call and narrow escape feel even more personal. It is a tense and disturbing world, with each area carefully designed to make you feel small and vulnerable. Oversized enemies, random corpses, and unexpected hazards keep you, as the player, constantly on edge. Now, I played Little Nightmares 3 solo, relying completely on my AI companion for my time with the game, and it mostly does a good job of guiding you through the puzzles and helping you navigate tricky sections. Though there are a few moments where it just doesn't quite do its job, and we'll touch on that more later. The gameplay style is very much a platform puzzler, with tense moments woven throughout. You'll be climbing, jumping, and sneaking through tight spaces, trying to avoid the oversized and often grotesque enemies that populate the necropolis. Now, I wouldn't really classify this game as an outright horror, but it is very disturbing and creepy for the most part. Puzzles are generally intuitive, requiring observation and timing rather than trial and error, though some moments do feel fiddly or frustrating, especially if your AI partner doesn't respond exactly as expected. One puzzle early on in the game saw me open an air vent where my partner floats up and is meant to lower a ladder, but I didn't know this, so once he floated up, he just glitched out and stood out of sight, making me spend about 10 minutes desperately trying to float up there with him. Upon resetting the checkpoint, he lowered the ladder instantly, leaving me feel rather frustrated with the time wasted. On top of that, while the game does an amazing job of painting a scene of isolation and desperation, there are a few more little nightmares that hold it back from being truly outstanding. First, the lack of local co-op is surprising for a game that feels perfectly suited for it. As mentioned, you can play the game online with a friend using a friend code, and only one copy of the game is needed, but you still need two Switch 2 consoles to make that work. Interacting with objects can also be fiddly and inconsistent, especially when jumping and climbing, which can be especially frustrating during tense moments or where precise timing matters, and these moments happen quite a bit. These issues are relatively minor though, but noticeable, and they do interrupt the otherwise immersive experience just enough to stand out. Now, by this time in the review, you've probably noticed me continually talking about the immersion, and that's because Little Nightmares 3 truly stands out with its brooding lighting and twisted world. It is the highlight of the experience. The graphics bring this unsettling vision to life, and the sense of scale makes the game feel genuinely disturbing. The developers use dark and dreary environments to great effect, creating a constant feeling of unease. Character design also contributes heavily to the mood, with some truly nightmarish creations that feel so grotesque and otherworldly without being over the top gory. The carnival level in particular shifts the environment in interesting ways, and it lets you get up close with the denizens of the necropolis, and it adds a palpable sense of tension. While the visuals do a great job with the world building, the performance unfortunately is not without its hiccups. On a few occasions, the game experienced brief loading pauses where the screen would freeze for a second or two, which really pulled you out of the game. Some animations, like turning a key, were stuttering despite the frame rate not actually dropping, and it made those interactions feel awkward in critical moments. There were occasional frame rate dips, particularly in areas with a lot of environmental detail or moving elements. And these issues don't ruin the experience, but like I said, they are noticeable enough to really interrupt the flow of an otherwise finely crafted world. It should also be noted that a patch is rolling out on the 31st of October, just in time for Halloween, which will address a lot of these AI issues and some performance woes. For my nightmares looking into accessibility options, I'm pleased to report that you can highlight interactable objects, which assist with your time in Little Nightmares 3. You can also change that highlight colour, change all text sizes, and have a dyslexia-friendly font. As always, I recommend further research into finding out whether Little Nightmares 3 suits your needs. At just under $63 Australian, I personally feel like Little Nightmares 3 is rather light on content. The game can be knocked over in roughly 5 to 6 hours, and while the actual experience was an immersive and interesting one, I just wanted more. Little Nightmares 3 does an outstanding job of enthralling the player and drawing you into this dark and twisted world, and weaves a haunting narrative despite speaking no words with its great animation and character design. Sure, some hiccups get in the way of the immersion, and the lack of included local play mode is an odd choice, but Little Nightmares 3 does do a great job of drawing you into its creepy setting. For players looking for a spooky game this Halloween, Little Nightmares 3 delivers enough tension and creepy moments to certainly get you into the Halloween spirit. So, what's it like? Little Nightmares 3 is like Little Big Planet, if it was in a dark and twisted world. I award it a 72 out of 100. In the interest of full disclosure, a review copy was provided by Bandai Namco, but this doesn't influence my score. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you liked it, the best way you can support What's It Like is by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with your friends. For more reviews, click on the thumbnails to the right, and for everything Nintendo, check out whatsItlike.com.au.